Something about the way people still ask the question says more about Bradley Walsh than the answer itself ever could. How many times has he been married? Only once. And that single, steady fact has a quiet power when you hold it against the man we see every week on our screens. Donna Darby became Mrs. Walsh in 1997. They had already been together for several years by then, after a chance introduction in a television studio that felt almost accidental. Brian Conley, an old mate, simply said the words, "This is Donna," and something shifted. Bradley has spoken about that moment with the soft surprise of someone who still cannot quite believe his luck. He has called her the most fantastic wife and mother. He has said, without hesitation, that he would not swap her for the world. Those are not the polished lines of a press release. They land like the truth of a man who knows exactly what he found. Viewers who have watched him for years on The Chase, on Blankety Blank, on those road trip adventures with his son, often find themselves circling back to this part of his life. There is something almost reassuring in the steadiness of it. In an industry that thrives on reinvention and spectacle, Bradley has kept one private constant. Many people watching feel the contrast sharply. The same presenter who can fill a studio with laughter and quick banter has chosen a quieter kind of loyalty at home. It almost seems as though that loyalty is part of what makes the on-screen version of him so easy to trust. He has a daughter, Hayley, from an earlier relationship, and with Donna he has a son, Barney, who has grown up in the same business and now shares the screen with his father. The family picture that emerges is not dramatic. It is ordinary in the best sense. Long marriage. Shared work. A home in Essex that stays largely out of the spotlight. When Bradley once spoke about the period he spent filming Coronation Street far from home, he made it clear that Donna was the one who recognized what the opportunity could mean, even though it would mean time apart. That detail stays with people. It paints a partnership that has weathered the practical demands of a television career without collapsing into public drama. Some audiences begin wondering whether the longevity itself is the real story. In a culture that often treats celebrity relationships as temporary entertainment, a marriage that has simply continued for nearly 3 decades feels almost radical. Viewers online have interpreted Bradley's occasional mentions of his wife as small windows into something solid. There is never the sense of performance. Just quiet acknowledgement. And that restraint, in its own way, becomes magnetic. It is easy to forget how rare that kind of consistency looks from the outside. Bradley's career has taken him through soaps, quiz shows, travel series, even singing. The public has watched him age in front of them, still sharp, still playful, still capable of those sudden soft moments that catch the light. Behind all of it sits the same marriage. The same woman. The same decision, renewed year after year, to stay. Perhaps that is why the question keeps returning. Not because people expect a complicated list of ex-wives, but because the single answer feels almost too straightforward for the world of celebrity. Bradley Walsh has been married once. To Donna. And the simplicity of that fact seems to hold more emotional weight than any tangled history ever could. Maybe what stays with viewers is not the headline itself, but the sense that somewhere behind the studio lights and the rapid-fire questions, there is a life that has been deliberately kept steady. A life that did not need reinvention to remain interesting. And perhaps that is why moments like this continue to spark quiet conversation long after the cameras stop rolling. What did you notice when you first learned how long they had been together? Did it change the way you watched him on screen? I would love to hear what stayed with you.